They thought humans were primitive until they watched one man wait longer than some stars lived. The alien historians never agreed on much, but they all agreed on this. Humans measured time in a way no species had ever understood. Not by clocks, not by suns, not by orbital cycles, but by love, regret, and promises. And the clearest proof of that was the story of David Hull, the man who waited 60 years for a signal no one believed would ever come. When the starship Lyris 9 first detected Earth's distress beacon, they assumed it came from a dying outpost. Instead, they found a lone, weather-beaten man living in a shack built around an old communications tower. His hair was silver, his posture slightly bent, but his eyes those fierce, tired eyes still burned with purpose. The alien delegation stepped onto the dusty ground in shimmering suits, expecting hostility or fear. Instead, David simply looked up from his console and said, "You're late." The aliens didn't understand the joke. They didn't understand much that day. Inside the shack, rusted equipment hummed with stubborn persistence, screens flickered with static. A single green light blinked every few seconds, silent, rhythmic, endless. "What is your function?" one alien asked. "I'm waiting," David replied. "For what?" another asked. "For my daughter." The aliens exchanged glances, their neural bands pulsing confusion. Their species lived only 25 years. Waiting longer than a single cycle was unheard of, illogical, wasteful, impossible. David explained that his daughter, Amelia Hale, had boarded the deep space vessel Radiant Dawn when she was 22. A malfunction in its jump drive flung the ship farther than humanity had ever traveled. The last message Amelia sent said she'd tried to reroute power, but no one knew if she survived. The world moved on. Governments fell. Technologies changed. The mission was archived as a tragedy. But not for David. He rebuilt the old tower with his own hands, part by part. He sold his house, moved here, and spent every morning calibrating frequencies, chasing faint echoes across the void. To the aliens it was madness, to David it was love. On their second visit, the aliens brought instruments capable of hearing signals buried under cosmic radiation. They scanned the tower and exposed its inefficiencies. They told David his efforts were futile. He simply shrugged. "Maybe, but she promised she'd call back." "So you wait on belief?" an alien questioned. "I wait on her," he corrected, and something about the firmness of his voice unsettled them, like discovering gravity doesn't. "He behaved the way you assumed." Years passed. The aliens returned again and again, partly out of curiosity, partly out of something else they couldn't name. They began to help him strengthen the tower. They replaced rusty wiring with luminescent cables. They installed quantum amplifiers. They learned the human concept of hope, though the translation never felt adequate. Finally, on a quiet sunset after their 9th visit, as David sat sipping black coffee from a chipped mug, the green light on the console changed. It turned blue. The aliens froze. David didn't move at first. He just stared, breath halting in his chest. The tower's speakers crackled, choked. Then, "Dad, if you're there, I made it. I'm alive." Her voice was older, strained, traveling through 60 years of darkness. David dropped the mug. It shattered. His hands trembled as he reached for the transmitter. "I waited," he whispered. "I told you I would." The aliens recorded everything. The tears, the shaking breaths, the way David laughed like he'd just been given a second life. They documented the physics of the signal, the impossibility of its survival, the resilience of ancient human engineering. But what they could never quantify, what no data crystal could hold, was the truth they finally understood. Humans didn't measure time by minutes or decades. They measured it by devotion, by the promises they refused to break, by the people they were willing to wait a lifetime for. And on that day, watching a father answer his daughter's impossible call, the aliens learned the most powerful truth in the universe: love could outlast even the stars.